Welcome back to another episode of Pick Truth. I'm your host, Dr. Vicky Harris. I'm here with my co-host,
Lamont Hearn
and I'm here
Jr.
to bring the heat. It's another week to hear a lot of fun confessions and all the other good fun things. But start this episode off talking about my youngest son. I think somebody has fed him
Mm.
magic growth hormones or something of that nature because not only are we in this space where we have to buy new shirts because they wear uniforms. It's public school here, but they wear uniforms. Has the new shirts. But I was mentioning to Lamont before we recorded that, he had to get new shoes at the top of the school year. So he wore his shoes maybe a week and a half before we had to get him new shoes because they were too tight. And so we were just kind of shooting the breeze about shoes. And so I asked the question because really, we are more. I will speak for me. I am more than privileged when it comes to getting the things that our children need. If they need something, we can go out and go grab it. If they want something, we can go out and go grab it. But we've kind of level set on our expectation. Our kids are not wanting like yacht trips. Like, you know what I'm saying? They want an extra stuffy. I recognize that we are blessed and I recognize that it's a privilege. And so my question out loud was, what do parents do when you can't afford new shirts or shoes because your child has just outgrown everything? And Lamont was sharing with me his shoe journey. Do you mind sharing it with everyone?
No, it's good. I can do that. So, for those who don't know, I wear a size 15 shoe. My shoe size went with my age pretty much every year of my life until 15. So, of course, you can imagine by the time I was 16, I was praying that it had stopped. Luckily, it did. But when Vicky asked that question, I kind of flashed back through my childhood, and I can remember initially being able to buy shoes at any location because I had a normal size shoe when I was a kid. It was easy to find shoes. But as my foot continued to grow, as I continued to grow and become taller, I ended up eventually having to switch to shoes that came from Shoe Carnival. Moved on to Kmart and had to start getting Shaq's. Shaq shoes were always very affordable, and he made shoes that their sizes spanned a lot wider because he wanted to make sure that everybody had an option to buy shoes. Eventually, it got to a point where sometimes we would get shoes through a school drive type thing where a teacher from my elementary school, I remember, took me to go buy shoes at Sears right around Christmas time because we couldn't afford to get shoes. So they took me to go get a size of shoes. I think it was size 10s at the time. I'm 10 years old, fifth grade, getting size 10 shoes. And I remember them getting me a coat. And when Vicky had asked that about, how do you how do the parents who can't afford it do it? And that's what happens is you go through Goodwill or other services. And just like she said, I am blessed in the current situation that I've been in and raising my children with my wife that anything my kids need as well, we're able to immediately go get or order. So it's I'm very happy to say that we're in that position, but I don't forget that there are other people who do not, who are not as fortunate, if you will. And, it's very interesting to kind of reflect on in this moment.
So, one thing that Lamont mentioned earlier was that if you're local, back in the day, there was the Galleria. And that Galleria at the top floor was a very well known shoe store. Like, let me tell you how well known. I had a cousin who was a manager there, and my brother worked there. Like, well known shoe store, national chain, right? Maybe not, depending on when you listening. It's getting rough out there in them streets. That national chain may not be there no more, but national chain, right? I'll help
Mm.
you out. Black and white stripes. There you go. Go be great. Try to figure that out, right? And so Luan's telling a story about how, when he was younger, he could go to that national chain store at the Galleria and get some shoes. They're probably, they weren't, I don't even know, the Jordans of the time, but they had a check. There you go. They were name brand.
Yeah, they had a Nike check.
So
Yeah,
the whole time he's telling that
yeah.
story, I'm apparently forgetting about my own damn childhood. I was 14 years old for the first time I got a name brand pair of shoes. And they came from the woman who lived down the street. At this time, I thought she was a woman, but probably a teenager. She was getting rid of some of her old stuff. She had a pair of Nikes. I wore the heck out of them. I was like 14 years old. So back in the day, we
Mm,
had Payless shoe stores. That is where every pair of my shoes ever came from. XJ900s, Pro Wings, like those were the brand name shoes. The XJ900, I thought I was it. At some point, I went to Catholic school, and so everyone back then had Eastlands, like these leather slip-on shoes. Right, I wanted some of them so bad. I had coasters, like, because that was the Payless brand equivalent. They were called coasters. And instead of having the Eastland tag on the
mm,
side of the slip on, they had the green coasters tag. Man, I used to try to cut that tag off so like people couldn't know. The first brand new pair of tennis shoes I got were also at the Galleria, also at that mall after I got a job. I got a pair of black and white, black on white Dan Cortezes. Y'all could not tell me
mm,
nothing. It was like 1996, 95,
mm.
96. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing. That was my second pair of shoes, name brand shoes. Other than that, so how do poor people do it? Well, when my mother was alive, we only got our stuff from, like, I think they're called Goodwill, but ours is DAV. There was a DAV
Mm.
downtown. Y'all don't ask me what it stands for, but
Oh yeah.
it's discounted clothing. It's the same thing as Goodwill, but closer to the house. And so we used to do all the consignment shopping, all the things, especially before I was 10. And then you just went without. Like, legitimately, you went without. And it makes me think about a whole lot of things. But your shoe story made me think, like, what am I fronting about? What did we do? You wore those mugs, your feet hurt. And then when you got your Payless shoes, you was happy. I could run faster, jump higher with this cardboard stuck to my feet. I listen. Somebody knows what Pro Wings are. Someone knows what those extra. And then, like, I would watch Nickelodeon back then and just salivate at the thought of LA
Mm.
Gear and British Knights. Oh,
Man, yo, a chokehold. Listen, when you would see somebody in them light up shoes in your school, oh man, that hurt a part of me. Like, I just wanted them so bad. Like, it's funny. If I saw a pair of LA Gears now, I'd probably feign like I was gonna get them, but I think it would be wild as hell to have some size 15 LA Gears on as a grown man. But
I don't know if it's British Knights or LA Gear, which one I've like seen, like you can still get. But if you're ever listening and you want to send a sister pair of shoes, go ahead and get those in a women's 11 or a 10 wide, because it's the wide part. Because I would rock them. I'd rock them in a heartbeat. It would be a dream fulfilled having those shoes. And I know that sounds so weird, but I don't know. So I will say this advice to parents out there struggling, and I say this as a kid who raised in a struggled environment, despite some of my antics and stories. Some of us won't even remember. Like, I had to be forced to remember because I was listening to the story. Like, oh yeah, we went to Payless. Girl, I ain't had no name brand shoes. Like, your kids won't remember all the things. They really, really won't. Some of them they will. Like, it is what it is because you have your own memories. Because I'm imagining if you've experienced this, there may be some generational experiences of not having more than enough, or just barely being able to get all your needs met. Like, keep pushing and keep trying. And your kids are not going to appreciate it until they're adults. Children are not made to be appreciative human beings. 27, 27 years old. If your kids act like gracious, appreciative human beings before the age 27, consider it amazing. Age 25 is when their brain's fully developed. So, like, they're never going to appreciate your sacrifice, that you get up early in the morning, that you're the only one doing it. They're not going to appreciate that you have their food ready, or that you iron their clothes, or you talk to their teacher. They're never going to appreciate it. They're not. I did this for you. Well, they don't know to be appreciative of that. They don't know it could be much worse. And some of y'all are in much worse conditions and they do know. Be kind. Don't act like they're ignorant. They recognize it's hard and it's impoverished and it's going to impact them. So let's not pretend like don't get mad at them because they want something. They're a child. Don't get mad at them because their feet grew. Don't get mad at them. This is what happens. Now you just need to have an honest conversation like, yo, like we're gonna duct tape this, baby. I apologize. I ain't got nothing for you. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting story. Our
Mm,
children live a completely different lifestyle than one that I could have possibly imagined for myself as a child.
yeah.
Everything they need and most of the things that they want. And so I am thankful that today that I can say that. I don't know what a year will bring. Like I could lose my job tomorrow and then be like, okay, starting over again. So by no means do I feel like I am better than because again, I could hit my head tomorrow and lose all my memories and hey, we struggling up in this piece. So anyway, that's probably took a darker turn than it needs to be. So let's jump into our very first confession for this episode. This one is titled "The My Boyfriend Thinks He's Feeding the Neighborhood Stray Cat. Today I learned he's actually feeding possums." The lockdown was really getting to him. Recently, we noticed that there was a family of stray cats that lived near us. He started putting food out for them every single night. Occasionally, he'll peek out the window to see if they're out there. He has never seen them eat the food, but the bowl is always empty. He worries about whether they're eating enough and if they know how to cross the street safely. It's so very cute. I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna be honest. Like, why y'all even try to feed stray animals? Like, I'm and get them moved so they can get some like help or something. But like, anyway, that's just me. Because you know why? Because anything could be eating that food. You might be feeding cats, but really feeding the rats. Sorry. So today I was on my way home and I walked over to check the food. I saw an enormous possum just devouring. He had such a sense of purpose taking care of the cats, and I don't want to ruin it. So, you guys are the only ones that I'm telling. As an update. Update for anyone creeping my profile and reading this way later. He found out about the possums. There are probably two or three of them. Ugh. And we found out that they actually live in the same little area with the cats. The cats have gotten a lot more friendly, but the possums remain skittish. Every time he sees a possum, he excitedly sends me a text and picture. There's also a skunk, and he loves every single animal that comes to eat the food we put out. Okay, Lamont, I'm sorry. It's on you, Lamont. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so like it's weird. Initially, as she was telling it, I was like, "Oh, his intentions are really like nice. He has good intentions. He's trying to feed them." And I was trying to think of how to describe this person because in my head, there's this archetype that I have for this type of person. They're like the person who, whenever they see anyone's pet dog, they want to pet the dog. They're the type to go to feeder supply and just view the birds in the cages, things like that. It's also giving me like this connection to like I'm trying to remember which Disney character it was. Yes, I'm thinking it's Snow White. Yeah, this one's it's not a crazy confession. I'm not gonna lie. It's disgusting. I'm not fooling with possums. I can't do it. I mean, it's a very mild truth, but it's definitely gonna irritate some other people because it's possums. Like that's a thing. They're not the most friendly animals from what I've seen. Let me ask you something. It's kind of an aside. I remember hearing years ago, and it's about them, that there's a difference between possums and opossums. Is that a thing, or is it just that someone was messing up? Like, or is that
No,
colloquial?
no. It's okay.
Okay,
So you
okay,
spell possums begin with the letter O. That's just what it is. It's called a possum, but
right,
the
right, right.
O is just silent. Now, if I'm wrong, it could be happening.
Oh no. So according to Grammarly, opossums and possums are different animals. Opossums live in North and South America, while possums live in Australia and other countries. So what we see here is opossums.
That's probably why I have this in my head that it's always opossum because that's what it is. It's how you spell it here in North
Hmm.
America.
Right.
Australia is a beautiful place. Parts of me wants to go visit. Other parts of me is scared shitless. Like I feel like that's just the land of the dinosaurs. I feel like I go back there, anything can get me. So their possums may not even be. Listen, I'm gonna say this about an opossum. F that. I don't know why it's. I think they're
Mm.
marsupial as well, right? They're babies go into their little. Listen, one time, Anthony, my husband was taking the dogs out. We have a deck. Went out there. I was sitting in the living room. So he goes out there with the dog, and all of a sudden he and the dog like just scatter back in. Like he's like, "There's a possum out there." I was like, in my head, I thought, guess we don't have a deck anymore because I ain't going back out there. And so, what I would do when I had to take the dog out is like be hitting the door, like making a lot of noise so that if it was out there, it would be scared and run. Like, I'm coming outside. I'm coming out. So, listen, irrational fears run heavy in my soul. Possums are one opossum, possum, your mama's possum. Listen, postpostum, whatever. No,
Not post
no
possum.
for me. It's a no. For, I don't need to see a pic. We have a friend who's afraid of a winged creature.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Nothing wrong with this winged creature. It's a beautiful winged creature. The level of fear I have for like a possum and it's probably on par with this winged creature. Like I can't do it. I choose not to do it. Mm-mm. But the thing is, we don't. I live in the urban area, and it's not that often that I have to concern myself with that. But it would win every time. Its existence in my head is so disgusting. It will win every time. It can have the woods. It can have the house. It can have the car. Whatever it needs. Because I'm done. Like, oh, you want that? Sure, sure. Serious as a fact.
So you just gonna check out?
Listen, true story. Not 24 hours ago. I'm in my office, like where I'm at right now. Oh, and I got a new chair. Look at my chair. So I'm in my chair. I'm facing this direction. My door is over here, facing this direction. So those who can't see me, I apologize. I'm facing the right. So I'm at my desk. My chair is facing my desk. But I am facing away from the door into my office, and I have on headphones and I'm jamming to music and I'm middle of playing a game on my phone. Like I'm all the way out tune. Apparently my spouse had come like dropped in on me on the a thing from Bezos equipment. If I say the name, it's gonna chime. We like to call it old girl. So he tried to drop in via old girl. Then he decides to come in. And he comes down, knocks, apparently, didn't hear him. Opens the door, didn't hear him. Then he yells my name. And I jumped so hard. My soul left my body. And he started talking. I was like, you need to wake. I need to gather myself. I was like, I'm still not gathered. Like my whole body just broke apart of fear. Like I'm not gathered. I'm seriously took 2 to 3 minutes to just, and 2 to 3 minutes is a long time when somebody's trying to talk to you. Go do 2 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me gather myself. I took deep breaths so that I could function. That is how I feel about a possum.
Mm.
I'm going to die, y'all. We know fight, flight, or freeze. I said, Anthony, if you came in here wielding a knife or a gun, you would have gotten me before I would have been able to respond because I would have had to gather myself. Like, there's a mass murderer right here. And I'm like, could you please wait a beat? I must gather myself because you've just now scared me witless. Do you mind gathering? So, anyway, all of that is really random, but I'm just relating it to my real life of why the fuck you out there trying to feed the animals. Rats can come up there, and you talk about skunks. Have you ever smelled a skunk? Have you ever been around somebody who's been sprayed by a skunk? I went to a college campus where skunks were everywhere. One poor guy actually became Skunk Boy. Like we only know, I don't know this man's name. He is Skunk Boy. That is his name. I have no idea where he lives. All I know is what his face looks like after he tripped and fell trying to run from the skunks. Skunk Boy. Terrible. I'm just I say a whole lot of crazy
Mm.
things really, really fast. All that to say, stop feeding animals. If you want a hobby, go feed the homeless. Like, why are you putting food out there? I might have to set my house on fire if three possums were sitting on my deck eating food. I was like, okay, okay. Don't know about the arson charges, but I would try to like
uh,
listen. After I got out of my catatonic state of freezing, the only thing that I could do to unfreeze myself was start a fire. And so that is what I did, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I started a fire because I was frozen.
so you're representing yourself in this case.
I'm gonna need to because ain't nobody else gonna be able to deal with my shit.
Mm.
Like, no, seriously, just scare me. Just scare me. You'll see. Okay. Did
Oh
you give
shoot.
this a rating?
Yeah, I said it's a poblano because it is gonna irritate others. But what
I'm
about
going
yourself?
for a Thai chili. Why the fuck are you putting food outside
Mm.
so animals can come and get it in a space where you're bringing all kinds of? What happens when the coyote decides to show up? Like, listen, go to a petting zoo, pick up a hobby, learn to cross stitch. Don't leave food out just random and where are you living? Where are you at? Where four possums, some stray cats, a freaking llama. Okay, it wasn't a llama. I can't think of a skunk. Like, what are you? I'm joking about the llama, but what are you? Where are you living at? You out here in the woods? Like, what else is gonna creep out of there and grab something? You gonna find Chester, the train bandit, the hobo who been living in the woods, coming out there and getting some food. You gonna be feeding all of them: hobo, Chester, the lion, his friend, the bear. Like, just stop. Just you get a Thai chili. Don't.
Not his
I,
friend, the bear.
and I know it sounds so dramatic. It was the possums. I kid you not. He could have been like, "Oh, beautiful birds," and maybe I'd been like, "Oh, that's cute." Possum soured it all for me. You got possums. You out here putting possum bait. And then what happens when the raccoons get involved? Because they get serious. They will open your car door. They will be able to unlock shit and open up bins and look for shit. Excuse my language. And come in and read your CD selection and like, oh, I don't like this one. Throw it around. And they're bandits.
You say CD
Yeah.
selection?
Yeah.
Who's still? You know what? And I know people are going to be like, "That's so sidetracked," but I can't help it. I know it's true. There's somebody still out there opening up their big binder of CDs to get their playlist together, and I it seems so long ago, but it really
Okay.
wasn't.
We are going to get
Wow.
sidetracked. So we're probably going to be short
Dang.
of confession this episode, guys. But kid you not. So I'm at my uncle's house on Saturday. Okay. At my uncle's house. Just literally, I'm in the neighborhood. I never get to say that. Like, I'm in the neighborhood. Can I stop by? So I'm on the front porch with some of the distinguished women of family that are there. And they get to talking about technology briefly. Like, this wasn't a whole conversation. So if they're listening, like, I just picked up on one of the things of this entire conversation. So this is not shade. It is just funny as shit to me. And so one of I guess the mother, so she's like a grandmother ish, like she's the mother to my aunt. So whatever. She talks about she don't trust that Facebook marketplace. If it ain't in the newspaper, she ain't getting it.
Mm.
And I thought, oh my, how? I ain't seen the newspaper in 10 years. Do they still make that kindling? Like back in the day, the newspapers is what I would use to wrap up my house. Now we're getting bubble wrap and cardboard. And then like anybody know where you can get newspaper? But there's a whole demographic of people who don't trust anything online and will only use the classifieds. And I'm saying that if you have a business venture in mind, don't forget about there's an entire demographic of people that don't trust shit, that are still using their CDs, they're still using their VHSs, that are still using. I bet you if you were a VHS repairman, you could kill. You could make so much money.
Mm.
I don't know. That was sidetracked. I know, but that's what made me leap there. Because I was over there like, yeah, you upset about Facebook Marketplace? Like, I don't trust that. I don't trust it. I give me the classifieds. Like, I guess if you taking all this time to put in a classified, you legit. I don't even know. Lamont, do you want to take it
It's
for
okay.
your first confession?
All right. So the title of my confession is Ghosted After Playing Dead During Sex. So I, female 22 years old, was talking to this guy from Tinder for a couple of months, but we couldn't really meet due to outside circumstances, distance, and university. We decided to meet up one weekend, super last minute. I was going home for the weekend, and he offered to pick me up. We went back to his place and did what had to be done. I was laying on my back and he was choking me and making eye contact. But it was my first time and I kind of got nervous, so I thought it'd be funny to start playing dead. I closed my eyes, turned my head to the side, stopped making noise, and became limp. I even stuck my tongue out to add to the bit, but after some awkward silence, I realized he either A, didn't realize what I was doing, or B, thought it wasn't funny. I got really embarrassed and went back to having sex, and the day after, he ghosted me. I'm so fucking embarrassed.
Wow. Like, okay, that is a very funny story. Because what I just heard you say, you played dead during sex. I want to know, did the dude keep going? Did he stop? Like, when did you recognize, like, this is not working out for him at the moment? Like, he's not here. Now I'm trying to picture that. I don't know how to picture that. Like, I'm with my husband intimately, that all of a sudden, well, you know what? There's probably a lot of y'all listening that are already a dead fish. You already play dead in the bed. So some of y'all, this is really nothing. This is y'all just as
Mm.
bro. It's as inappropriate. As inappropriate. I went too far.
The other term for that is a pillow princess.
Oh, I never heard that
Yeah,
term before.
they just lay there.
Well,
Yeah, I just heard it recently. Learning some new things.
cool. Yeah, it's a bell pepper. Funny though, like there would be so many stories. Like I feel like she should have went all out. She should have made the noise. She should have did a death rattle, like the whole thing. She should have done the whole thing. Like I can see how you'd be embarrassed, but he wasn't too embarrassed. He kept going until he's like, I'm ghosting her. But maybe that was his plan anyway. Maybe it had nothing to do with you playing dead, but simply he just you met on Twitter, y'all smashed it a smash mass, and he got what he needed, and he saw you as a possum and ran away.
No, I mean, she said there was an awkward silence. So it could be that he stopped because he thought it, was weird. And then she said she got really embarrassed and went back to having sex. So I was like you said, I was trying to get that image in my head of somebody being like, and faking like they were out. And like, did bruh just stop? From what it sounds like she said, it's like he was going and then she did this and he kind of was like, he paused. And so there's questions of how the imagery is. Like, did he disengage?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
catch what
yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
did he disengage? Or did he just stay engaged and just look at her real funny? And then she kind of looked up and noticed that it was just quiet and he was just kind of just there. And then she was like, because how do you go back to re-engaging after? I
Well, I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's
So, like, I don't know what the
different.
baton handoff is for choking. Like, if you out here choking me anyway, I don't know what the baton handoff is. Like, are we in there and I'm getting choked? Did we just decide to stop for a second, choke shit out of me, then we going back to it? Like, I don't know the choke etiquette. If anybody knows the choke etiquette, why don't you put the choke etiquette
It,
in
it,
our
it,
on our comment section? Like wherever you listen, tell us like what's the choking etiquette? Like when you choke, you're supposed to be engaged or not engaged. Do you do straight eyes? Like do you look somebody in the eye when you do that? Like do you eyeball them unblinkingly? Like I don't know choke etiquette. If someone could tell me choke etiquette, yeah, just tell me what that is. Use our Facebook group, Pick Truth, and say, hey, this is what choke etiquette is. Let me know because I don't know it. Hey, co-host.
Hey.
Do you know? Can you give me any information about choke etiquette? Like, what's proper choking? Do you look them in the eye? Do you mumble things when you do it? Like, like, get that. I
Hold on.
hate you. Like, what do you? What's the?
No, that sounds a little bit more aggressive than I've ever even understood for it. I'm aware of some of it, not to that level. I do know that it's usually during engagement, and it's not so much fully on the front part of the neck. It's more the side. You're not trying to actually cut someone's air supply off and have them pass out. Um, so that's about as far as I know. I know it gets a little bit more in depth than that. I won't say I've never tried it, but it was very introductory. Kind of felt a little scared.
I ain't gonna comment. And I
Fair.
I won't comment. That will be me not commenting. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to our next episode, our next confession of this episode. This one is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my mother I won't pay taxes on their paid off home?" So both my parents are old enough to retire and collect Social Security and their pensions. My brother, 43 years old, has a full time job and uses three of the four bedrooms at my parents' home, one room for himself, two others for his kids. My brother pays $1,200 a month to my parents for rent. The normal rent for a three-bedroom home in this area is $2,300 and up. My parents just paid off the house 2 months ago. They are now asking my sister and me to help out with paying the taxes. My parents have told me I will receive 25% ownership of the house. My brother living with them 50% and my other sister 25% after their pass. No favoritism there. I told my brother, "How much do you need so I can pay 25% of the taxes?" He said, "I don't know." My mother then said, "Your father and I want to retire and would like you, your brother, and sister to pay the taxes." I asked if the rent my brother pays isn't enough. My brother never moved out of the house and has just been leeching off my parents his whole life. My mother defended him because he takes care of the errands, then proceeded to tell me to lower the child support I pay my ex wife, whom I have two boys with. I said, "Let me get this straight. You want to mess my kids over just so that my brother and his kids can live a better life? Or did you prefer that I take money out of my retirement account, get penalties and all, to keep coddling my brother? I'm sorry, but I will not continue to enable him like you have all these years. I have my own family and bills to take care of. Am I the asshole? And what
No.
would you rate it?"
No. No, you're not the asshole, in my opinion. Let me first start by saying when it comes to family, I understand family, there's this, there's sayings and things that go along the lines of, family's supposed to be able to depend on each other and lean on each other in times of need. But this sounds more like the brother has a certain living situation that has afforded him the ability to stay at home with his parents, and to pay portion of what he would potentially be paying if he were outside of their home to cover himself and his living expenses. In this case, now while they are offering the brother who is the confessor 25%, they are basically asking him to take something away from either, as he said, his own retirement or his children, to help facilitate this. As far as his confession, to me, it's a bell pepper as far as I'm concerned. I am judging the parents a lot more. For me, at that point, it is a jalapeno. I'm giving them the side eye that they would ask. I'm also not surprised that parents would tend to ask something like that. Sometimes there is this image that parents tend to have with their kids of them being a certain age and always being able to communicate with their children at a certain age rather than recognizing them as adults and communicating with them in a way that understands that I don't have to follow your rules. You do not dictate what I do. I am an adult, especially at the age of an adult, and you have to ask of me to do things. It is not a requirement of me to fulfill your requests if they are outside of what I've already agreed to do. That's pretty much my stance on that. So, like I said, for him, it's a bell pepper. I don't think he's an asshole for it. And as far as the parents, I would say to me, it's a jalapeno.
So this is very interesting. I'm curious as to what gives people the audacity to ask others for things that I feel like are outlandish.
Mm,
You know, like I can't imagine going to your house asking, "Hey, can you put in on my car note?" and
mm,
being serious about my car note. And I know that everyone comes from different cultures and different expectations within their family dynamic and their family structure. This one right here, yeah, I can't relate to family dynamics and structure because I didn't have a mom and dad and have a nuclear family that like most typical people do. I have that now in the family that I've created and cultivated. But this makes no sense to me.
mm,
How do you ask somebody for something like that? Yeah, so to the original poster, absolutely it is a bell pepper. But again, I wonder culturally if he
mm,
is if there's a cultural norm that he's not adhering to, that within those societal expectations that others are upset. Like there may be you're the younger brother. I'm not sure. I can't remember his age, but you're the younger brother. You're supposed to do this, and the older brother is supposed to get this. And this is just the way that we do dynamic family structures. But yeah, it's a mild truth. I'm like, man, we don't throw the deuces, and if he lives there, make him do it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like then here's another thing. I'm saying this, but ain't nobody ever left me shit.
mm,
So like I don't know what expectations are put on people that hey, I'm leaving you something. You know it's going to be yours. You go ahead and pay the insurance, but not the insurance, but the taxes. But then there's still no guarantee that it's mine. There's still no guarantee that the will be executed as it's supposed to, or I don't do something in a year or two that pisses you off so bad. Because I mean, you got the gall and audacity to ask me to pay for taxes on a place that I'm not living at, and to short my own kids, your grandchildren. So ain't no telling. You could just get mad at me and take it away. So I've been paying taxes for years. F that. Now, the audacity of the parents and the audacity of the brother to even, because I'd be like, don't even ask that, mom. It's crazy. I'm probably gonna give you a jalapeno. I'm giving you the straight side eye. Like I'm damn near judging you. So very spicy jalapeno where I'm giving you the side eye saying like, what makes you so important that that's an appropriate ask for anybody? You
mm.
take care of your kids, I'll take care of mine. That's because he runs errands. If you don't errand these nuts, all right. All right. What's your confession you got?
All right, my final confession for today is titled I Cannot Sleep Without the Thought Frog. There are obviously a lot of ways to fall asleep. Some people read, some people count sheep, and some people think of absolutely nothing. I have the thought frog. For as long as I can remember, there's been a presence in my head that I've just referred to as the thought frog. Whenever I'm ready to go to sleep, I imagine him slowly licking every part of my brain to cleanse my thoughts before I sleep. I feel him lick away all of the day's stresses, all of my ideas, and eventually my consciousness. It's gotten to a point where if I try to fall asleep without letting him into my mind, it's absolutely futile. The only way for me to sleep is to let him have his way. I consider it a mutualistic relationship in that sense. He gets whatever he wants out of licking at my mind, and I get to fall asleep quickly and peacefully. Sometimes I wonder if his constant licking will one day give me dementia. It started randomly. One day he just materialized in my mind's eye and said, "Are you ready?"
Sorry. Sorry.
No, you're
Sorry.
good.
I'm trying. I'm trying to hold this together. But did you just say your thought frog, Barry White, Whitey Chew was like, "Are you ready?" Okay. But are you ready for me to lick you? Okay. Carry on. Carry
Mm.
on.
These days, he only speaks to me occasionally. He'll comment on one thought or another and will sometimes judge me. Even though he says some pretty hurtful things, that's a disgusting idea. You think you're worth that much? Why would they ever like you? I appreciate what he does for me. I've started to wonder if he's a gift from beyond sent to help me take control of my mind before I drift off. I feel like he's too real to just be something I've completely invented inside my head. The thing that inspired me to make this post is he seems to be penetrating into my waking world, Kind of like Freddy Krueger, I guess. He's often in my dreams because he's a daily part of my life. But now sometimes I'll think I see him on a fence or a tree somewhere. But when I look closer, there's nothing. Occasionally, I'll go outside and look for him. Whenever I do see frogs, I'll stare at every little detail of their bodies to make sure they're not him. I'm not sure what I'd do if I really did see him. If I hurt him in any way, I'm sure I'd never sleep again. I'd probably just let him be. I get pretty bad anxiety thinking that he'll leave me and I won't be able to sleep again. His appearance as I fall asleep is not voluntary, so if he one day disappeared, I would have no way of getting him back. I picture my little green companion walking off, and I can feel my heart race increase. Maybe more so than worry is the thought of the grief I'd feel upon losing a friend. It's hard to believe I could consider something entirely in my mind a friend, let alone a frog. Am I crazy?
Are you crazy? I would say that it is an atypical behavior to have a thought frog lick you to sleep. I've been licked to sleep before, but not my brain.
uh,
I don't even know. Part of me wants to say, like, if this is your confession, thank you for sharing. Talk to someone about what you're seeing. I don't know if that's something that is as typical as may be necessary because the anxiety that you have over losing your imaginary frog that's going to slowly lick you down. But when he said he first appeared, he was like, You ready? It's like, I feel like he's being molested. Like the way that
yeah.
that was being described, it was like he had no control. And I wonder, listen, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. I do think you should share this. I think you should share it with a therapist because I'm just concerned. Because what would you do if you found your thought frog like out there on the fence for real? Like I don't. I really need to know how old you are. I'm gonna give you a poblano because your truth could irritate others. Like I'm not gonna front. You could irritate some others, but like real talk, I got more questions than you could possibly imagine. I legitimately have so many questions. Like, what does it feel like when he's licking your thoughts away? He licks you to sleep every night. And then you just start showing up in the day. Like, I'd be concerned you might be having some hallucinations and you might want to talk to some. But, like, Lamont, can you imagine something like just licking you to sleep? Like your brain, your your
right,
brain
right, right, right. My
to
brain.
sleep. Like,
Yeah. No.
yeah, that's weird shit, dude. I can't front. Like I'm trying to make this. That's some weird. The frog thought. Like yo, how'd you get to sleep? That frog thought. I got that frog thought. Yep. Like it seems so crazy.
And
Thought
abusive.
for that frog.
And also abusive. He literally said that at one point the frog is like, that's a disgusting idea. You think you're worth that much. Why would they ever like you?
Right. You know what? That did kind of, I remember that. And I thought, like, why is the thought frog an asshole? If you're going to lick my thoughts, just lick my thoughts and don't talk to me. I don't want you doing anything but licking and going away. If you're doing more than licking and making sure that you've taken away my day's stress so that I could go to sleep, then I don't want you, thought frog. I want that thought frog every night. I want that thought frog. Help me go to sleep so I can concentrate
I'm,
in the morning, the nighttime, the day.
I'm going to give you a round of applause because the way you said that, of course, we all know if you cut that part out by itself, sounds completely different.
It does feel like he was being taken advantage of. Like the way that
Yeah.
he would describe it in the beginning, it was just like I imagine him slowly licking every part of my brain
Yeah. It was almost sexual in a
to
way.
cleanse it. What are they cleansing it from? Like, yo, I hope I don't ever get so high in my lifetime that I think I see a thought frog licking me. I ain't into bestiality like that. I don't want a thought frog like that. But now it's a new euphemism for me. You got that thought frog? Just lick me till I go to sleep. Thought frog. What would you rate this?
yeah. Like you said, I'm not gonna say it's something that you should. keep to yourself. You should definitely tell a therapist about this. I got more hung up on the fact that he said that he would see it walk away, like frogs hop away, right? I know that's like the most irrelevant part of this story, but he said it, and I hung on that part. They don't walk per se.
They also don't lick. They don't lick you till you sleep. Well, I have not experienced that, but
I've
you
never
know
owned a
what?
frog.
That's a frog. No, we're talking about a frog. We're not talking about a thought frog. Thought frogs and a
Mm,
frog, just like a possum and opossum, they different. Come on.
come on.
I apologize.
Right. It's the Animal Planet episode. Our apologies. We out here confusing it. The thought frog, okay, he could possibly walk. First of all, he's licking brains and getting thoughts, all that. And then he said that this thought frog could give him dementia. You should not keep this a secret. You should talk to someone. You should get a neurologist. You should get a couple of people's assistants to get help with this, because that thought frog is going to lick you senseless. And that's just terrifying.
The song that comes to head in my mind is I want to lick you up and down till you say stop.
I don't know why I
I
seen Kermit the
want to
Frog saying it.
play with your body, baby. I want to play with your body, baby. Make you
Mm,
real hot. I want to do all the things you want me to do. Because tonight, baby, I want to get froggy with you. Baby, don't stop. Okay, I won't go into the whole song. For some of y'all, like, what song is that? I don't know. I know the lyrics came to my head, but what is that? Oh, Freak Me.
yeah,
Silk.
yeah, yeah,
Come
yeah,
on, Silk Freak Me. Now it's gonna thought frog me.
yeah. uh,
Lick out my carrots. I'm thinking I'd have to be high on mushrooms or something for me to see a thought frog.
mm,
Like, and I've never done mushrooms, and I would love, but I have been banned from trying those types of things from my husband. He says that if I try it, I can't be at home. He can't be around,
mm.
and he don't want to hear none of the bullshit. We know that I'm allergic to shit like Benadryl, so I shouldn't be out there trying to experiment. So I've never experimented with mushrooms, but I imagine now if I have a mushroom experience, I'm gonna see a thought frog. I'm like, lick my brain, make me go to sleep,
Mm.
thought frog. All right, I think that's enough innuendo for this episode of Pick Truth. If you haven't done so already, go check out our website. It's picktruthpodcast.com. Yeah, www.picktruthpodcast.com. Subscribe wherever you do, and then send this to a couple of friends. If you've not done so already, please join the Facebook group, Pick Truth. That's the name of the Facebook group. We talked about that earlier. Go ahead and tell us all your thoughts in that space. Because we got possums and bear and frogs and shit real on this episode heavy. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you subscribe.
Catch you next
Later.
time.